Hello. Um, it's been a while, and I'm sorry. Sorry, just checking so it's recording correctly. Um, I did record this Q&A 2 weeks ago, but it turned out way too bad, I guess. Or yeah. So we're doing it again, and I'm sorry it's been a while. I've had a lot in school, some tests and essays and so forth. But anyway. So, also, I just want to mention that I did create a Patreon. It isn't expected of anyone to go and support me over there. That's just one step, an extra step you can take. One step further if you want to support me even more. But just watching the videos, of course, means a lot. But yeah, and over there I'm gonna post raw footage of any video I make. Yeah, there's more information on that over there. If that's even anything you want to watch, I don't know. And there's chats and whatever. Anyway, yes. So we're doing a Q&A, and I've kind of dissected. Sorry, I've kind of dissected the questions. Because last time I did like literally every comment one by one, which I am doing now too. But I kind of welded questions together or whatever, because a few of them are very similar, so I'll read them up and I'll answer them with one big answer. But I think I am going to cover every single question, or going to be able to. And if I missed a specific question, it might be because I did go for it. It might be because I don't have a good answer for it. It's not that I thought it was bad. I just didn't know what to answer. Or I haven't answered any of the questions yet, but as I went through them, I kind of thought of an answer in my head. Anyway, so I have this tablet here where I have my questions. So if I look down, I'm terribly sorry, but it's probably for the better because I'm very shy, so I'm gonna be all over the place. And if you see me looking over there again, that's just my laptop is over there, so I don't know. Anyway, okay. So I have dissected the questions into, I have made 3 categories, I guess. So first of all, we have personal questions, somewhat, and then we have interest related, and then channel related. And I'm gonna see if I can make some sort of timestamp in the description, and not for every question, but for those 3. So we're gonna start with personal questions, and if I look down again, I do it because I'm reading the question, and I'm terribly sorry. Okay. Personal questions. Just curious, when is your birthday? Okay, so I am 18. I was born on the 4th of March, 2005. Any plans on starting social media? For example, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, etc. And, well, I do as a teen, in the society we live in. I do, of course, use Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook somewhat. But at the moment, I only use them privately. I don't aspire, like, I enjoy doing this, but I enjoy doing it because I enjoy being creative when I feel like being creative, I guess. So my goal isn't to become like an influencer per se. Of course, that's not the sole purpose of having an Instagram, of course, but eventually, I don't see why not. But at the moment, it's somewhat because of what I just said, but it's also because I don't like. Well, this is kind of answering another question, but not everyone knows that I have a channel, and if I make an Instagram, everyone will, because when I made my photography, or like my private Instagram, like I have a public, as in public for friends and people you kind of know, and then I have a more private one where I post random pictures for even closer friends. And when I made my even more private one, it seemed to pop up on everyone's Instagram, everyone who followed my other one. So I don't need everyone to find my channel just yet, and that's partially why. That's partly why. Anyway, yeah, I hope that answers your question. I don't know why I did that. Okay. Are you the kind of person that has a personal timeline and plan for their life, or do you prefer to just go with the flow, or maybe a bit mix of both? So, I want to think of myself as someone who has everything planned out. I like to be very organized, albeit currently my life isn't very organized because I have so much on my plate. I just kind of push everything away until I feel like I have the time, as I seem to have done with the channel, which I'm very sorry for. And it's, whilst I'm talking about it, it's generally just a creative block. I could just sit every weekend and make a cranial nerve exam or whatever. I mean, I think they're fun, but I don't want to just be doing the same thing just because it gets some views, and then I can go on with my day, because at the same time I want to make something interesting for you, even though you may enjoy them very much. I want to be a bit more I want to bring in some variation too, I guess. And at the moment I have so much on my plate, which is why it's hard to think of stuff like that at the moment, and I'm sorry. But I will be back like that. Hopefully now. I have a week off of school now, so I have some time. Anyway, to answer the question, I just looking over there, sorry. This tablet needs to charge soon too, I see. That's fine, sorry. Okay. I want to see myself or look at myself as someone who does, but I don't at the moment. I want to be organized, but I don't. I just kind of go with the flow. I can make a small schedule for today, like, okay, I need to get this done, this essay, I need to hand that in, and then I can continue with the rest. That's kind of going with the flow. That's a terrible answer, I'm sorry, but it's a mix of both. That's the most boring answer I could give, but that's the truth. Is Manolo a nickname? If so, what's its origin? Well, okay. So Manolo is a mix of three letters, or my mix of the three first letters of my first name and three first letters of my last name, which was given to me by my school, because we got, school emails a few years ago, or like 10, 15 years ago, no, 14, 12 years ago. And it just stuck with me, because I didn't know what else to, when I played a game or whatever, I didn't know what else to type in, so that just became it, seeing as it, of course, is a name in, I know for a fact there is a name in, Spain and other, in other Spanish-speaking countries at least. So it kind of just stuck with me. But no one really calls me that, other than, on the internet. Sorry, I'm kind of leaning forward. Excuse me, please. Or sorry. What makes you to have a good personality? And if I am to... I don't know what I just said. Okay. What makes you to have a good personality? This is just what was written in the question. I read that question as what makes you have a good personality or whatever. And I don't know if I do have a good personality. I could be kind of odd. I don't know. I have different mindsets. I think, no. Okay, I don't want to answer this in a very weird and neglectic way. Narcissistic way. I can't say whether or not I have a good personality or not, because who am I to say? But I see my personality seems to be appreciated. Also, reading off of this question, it seems that way. I don't know. I like to make time for everyone around me. if I don't hang out with them a lot, I still want to keep up the contact or whatever. What that has to do with this, I don't know, but that's just a bit more about me, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question. I'm sorry. I think that's up to you to make up an answer for that, because I don't think I'm. I mean, who am I to say? I'm sorry for that boring answer. But I just want to explain what I had to say before. I was trying to go into a bit more about how I am and how I function and how I think. And then I was talking about this, that people that I don't really hang out with a lot still, like the old classmates and whatever, that I try to still make up time to meet with them, do stuff, go for a cup of coffee or whatever, which some of my other friends might not be doing with them. But I, for some reason, am doing. But I just like to keep up the contact. Or like if they ask me, if I go for a coffee, who might say no? Like I'm gonna enjoy that, and I want to keep up the relationship, friendship, of course, with anyone really, who I of course want as a friend. But I don't know why I went in on that. Anyway, finally, but it's not final. But how tall are you? You seem like a tall guy. I can only answer you in centimeters. I am 189 centimeters tall, which isn't like, it's not that much that tall. Not that much. Of course, I'm not short, but I have seen taller people. Do you have any interest in traveling to North and or South America? If so, where? Like, I don't have a specific place in South or North or South America that I like. Oh, I need to go there. Sorry, I'm looking here. I should be looking here. I'm sorry. And then I need to go there. But of course, I want to visit. I've been to Mexico a long time ago, but I don't have a specific place in the Americas in general that I really want to visit. And it's not that I have no interest in going there, just that I haven't thought about it yet. I have so much else on my mind. But yes, I would of course want to visit the continent eventually again. What languages can you speak? And someone else asked, how many languages can you speak, or do you speak? So I'm kind of answering both of them. I speak Swedish and English fairly well, and I did read Spanish for almost 4 years, but I've lost that. That was 3 years ago. I don't read it in my current program in school. I wasn't very good. When did you learn English? Well, in Sweden we start practicing / learning English when we enter 4th grade, I think. 3rd maybe, or maybe it's even earlier, but at least by the time you're in 4th grade you should be learning English. And then you're maybe you're 10, 11. You might be younger. I know I had learned quite enough English by the time I was 11 that I could speak with people. I wasn't very good. Like I wasn't as fluent as I might be today, if you would call me fluent. But I could have conversations with people and understand them by the time I was 11, and that was usual. When you were in school, were you the quiet friend or the loud friend? Well, I am in school now still, but I am very much the quiet friend. I am very shy, and I like to just observe, listen, and just sit there, which might seem weird if you don't know me, but if you're like, my friends of course know that about me, so they don't think it's weird. They expect that. And of course, around my closest friends, I'm not as quiet as I am in other in other scenarios, of course. But I am very much a quiet friend, albeit I like to argue. Not argue in the sense of like having a fight, but like argue as in more of a debate. If I think something is unfair or wrong, I usually speak my mind. If I am in the position to do so. Like at my school, I very much speak my mind. If I think something is unfair or something is, something is unfair, something is like a stupid decision or whatever, I will speak my mind, even though it's it makes no sense. It might not matter at all. I just like to keep arguments or pursue arguments for some reason. An example I had 2 days ago is time with the Halloween decoration at our school. My principal, whom with I have a lot of arguments. They had put on whoever decorated the school had put this faux or fake spider web along the staircase, which goes like whatever. It's a staircase and it has a railing, and I just thought it was stupid of them because just looking at the time, sorry, stupid of them because someone had put it on the railing, which when you put your hand on the railing for whatever reason, as you do with the railing sometimes, you would slip. It was stupid, and it was a safety hazard. Not that it might have, been like a big safety hazard. It didn't make it it wasn't that dangerous, but I thought it was stupid. So I decided to message my principal because I like to argue. So I said, whoever put this up should go back and redo it because it's stupid to put something that makes your hand slip on a railing. Because of course, if someone puts their hand on the railing and expects to get a good grip, they're gonna slip and they might fall. Again, I didn't start the argument with him because the question related to me that much. I just thought it was stupid, and I have had enough with my school, so I wanted to pursue another argument. And the answer I got back was, oh well, it was people from the same grade as you who put them up, and it's too late to do anything now. And then I got triggered even more, and I kind of pursued the argument further and said I don't understand how it is too late to fix it. It takes a minute to whatever put the spider web on there's the railing which you hold on the bar, and then there's like a glass pane to the side of the staircase, and on top of the glass pane there's a metal plate bar thingy that just kind of frames the pane, and you could have easily just wired the spider web through there and not on the railing, which I told him, and I haven't got an answer yet. And that might be like an annoying thing about me, that I like to pursue arguments. But I don't like to pursue arguments in this, like with friends. I don't want to pursue an argument to annoy anyone, because I care a lot about what people think of me. But in my school, I feel like I'm in a position to say to speak my mind, because I think that there are very many or a lot of stupid decisions being made. So I feel like someone should say something, and I do for some reason. So it could be very annoying, but that's how I am. Even though the staircase thing I didn't care for it that much. I mean, I just thought it was stupid, so I had to say something. Okay, now this thing has. Wait, sorry. This document with the text has what the. Sorry, I don't use this tablet ever, so I'm just very confused. Okay. I'm terribly sorry, I don't ever use this, so I don't understand what it is doing. I just want to see my questions. What the flip? Sorry, I don't... Why is it doing this? I don't... What? I don't... It's zoomed in. I'm just trying to figure this out because it should just be to zoom out, but it's not that easy for some reason. What? Why is it zoomed in like that? I don't understand it. What? Okay, here, there we go. Oh, sorry for raising my voice. I'm just... Okay. Okay, sorry. Let's continue. I forgot one question before, so we'll go back to that now. What was your favorite subject? Sorry, I'm just gonna make it clear. We're moving on from the argument thing because I don't want you to think I'm an asshole. So let's go back. Okay. What was your favorite subject in school? That's a very good question. I, for a long time, or for the longest time, enjoyed English a lot because I was quite good at it, I think, at least when it comes to writing. But currently I think it's... we have a great teacher in... I have no idea what that class would be called in English. I have absolutely no idea what you would call it. I have no clue. What would you call... I don't know. Well, we read up on politics and whatever, society in general. I have no clue what you would call that in English. I'm sorry. And that teacher is fantastic. So at the moment, I think it's that, but that's only because of the teacher. What are some of your hobbies and activities, and why do you like them? Okay. I think hobbies will be answered a lot in the interests part of this video, so I'll answer that one there. But activities, I do Krav Maga, which is some sort of martial arts training, and I've done it for almost 3 years, 3 years now, and it's fun. It takes up some time, but it's quite a bit of fun. I also like biking. I don't know, it's a very odd answer, because it's not like professional biking in any way. I just go out and cruise on my bike sometimes because I find it very relaxing, I guess. Could you imagine living outside of Sweden one day? And if yes, what country speaks to you? And then someone also asked, where are you from? Where would you love to live? So I'm kind of gonna answer them both. So yes, I am from Sweden. I live in Sweden. And at the moment, I mean, I am very, very, I don't know if you would say I'm very patriotic, because that sounds very American. It's often used in an American context. But I am very proud to be Swedish, because I love history and stuff, and I am proud to be Swedish. I don't know what to say. But other countries that speak to me for living in the future, Switzerland. Of course, it's a bit more expensive than Sweden, but I guess it would be similar in some ways, just less crime, I think, than we have now. But I love Sweden, so I don't see myself permanently moving somewhere else. But if things take off, second home, I don't know where, but that wouldn't be impossible, or it wouldn't be out of the question. What is your favorite ASMR? I don't know why I put this here, but I will answer it. And what job would you have if not doing ASMR? Okay, so I still study, and I don't have a lot. Anyone can say they don't have a lot of time, because of course I have as much time as anyone. But the way I use my time, I don't have a lot of time for an actual job, which is why this comes hand in hand. It wasn't why I started this. but it goes hand in hand in that sense. And if things take off well, so that I can make a living off of this, then of course I will try to do that. But when I go out of school, I have one more term, so until next summer, 2024. Then my hope is to do military service for about a year or so. And I don't intend to leave my channel. I intend to then try and keep it up by recording, if I even get into military service, but by then recording videos whenever I'm home, in between training, but also beforehand. So I have quite a few to upload whilst I'm over there, so I have a lot of them. But after that, I want to pursue advertisements, because I study graphic design, so I'm very interested in that. And if the channel takes off even further, I mean, not that it hasn't taken off already, or haven't taken off, but if it takes off even further, I might pursue studying advertisement more than maybe pursuing a job, because if I do military service and get out of military service, if I want to study advertisement, I will probably have to get another job to support myself, of course. Or I would try to get a job right away in some sort of advertisement or anywhere. But if I make a comfortable living, or a living in general, from the channel by then of course I might try to actually just study advertisement for the fun of it, and see where I can go from there. And what is my favorite ASMR? I don't have a favorite ASMR. Long before, I didn't like roleplays at all, because I felt they were kind of like odd, weird, and then here I am doing them now. So obviously that has changed. But I enjoy very different stuff. I will come to answering that later. So excuse my boring answer. Are you religious? Do you believe in God or Jesus or someone else or something? No, I'm not. Well, I'm born in Sweden, and I have been baptized? I've been whatever it is you do, and not because my parents or anything are religious in that sense, but it's kind of tradition in Sweden. I mean, up until like the year 2000, you were automatically enlisted in the Swedish church if you were born here, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But like on a paper, maybe I am legally, Christian, because I am, I think, a member of the Swedish church. But I don't, I don't believe in any of that. But if you do, I don't care if anyone else does. I just don't devote my time to that. Do you want to go into the field of medicine? No. That's a very boring answer, but that's all I can say. No, I don't. Are you single? Love your videos. Oh, yeah, I don't know where I kept that, but thank you very much. Are you single? Yes. What about your life do you never want to change? I think that's kind of the same answer as I was on about before, how I actually try to make up time and maintain friendships that others probably wouldn't have thought about maintaining, which is kind of odd. That's just one example, but I guess that's as good an answer as any, because it brings me much joy that I am like that for some reason. What countries do you want to visit, or what languages do you want to learn and get better soon? Oh, well, thank you very much. Same as with the North and South America question. I don't know what countries I want to visit. Of course, I want to visit Switzerland, and I want to road trip through continental Europe. I want to visit Italy, go around the Amalfi Coast and whatever. But I don't have a specific location, like I need to go there now. I also want to visit Memphis and I guess, road trip around America at some point also, or the US, and I should be more specific. But I want to visit Graceland. So I guess like the only specific place that I know I want to visit is Graceland in Memphis. But I have no hurry to go there. But as I said, Switzerland and just road trip for continental Europe. Okay, let's move on. Okay, some interest-related questions. If you could have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be? What kind of questions would you ask? That's a very good question. I mean, my main idols, I guess I can say, would be Clint Eastwood, Elvis. I guess you could throw in Paul Newman and to some extent Robert Redford. But I just want to think so. I'm not missing anyone. That would be... Wait. Yes. But the top two for me is Clint Eastwood and Elvis. That's the only people whose lives I'm actually read up on, or like have some kind of knowledge too. But Elvis far more than Clint Eastwood. Not that I don't like Clint Eastwood, I just have read more about Elvis, and I am kind of deeper into the rabbit hole of him, or rabbit hole that is Elvis Presley and his life, or whatever. But I guess it would have to be Elvis. But it's like I don't have any question I would want to ask him. I just sit there and be starstruck. I don't know. I'd want to get a picture, but I don't think I'd even want to get a picture of me with him. I just want to get a picture of him and say I took a picture of him. I don't know. I'm very weird in that sense. I don't want to be a fan. Of course, I am a fan, and it's not a bad thing to be a fan. But who am I in the midst of a bunch of other fans? To him, I'm just a fan anyway. Might have been any of the other million fans that he has that just would have sat there. So I don't know. I don't have any good answers to that at all. I don't know what I'm going on about. I'm sorry. Well, I wouldn't have a specific question in mind at all. I guess I would just try to have a conversation, which of course is based on questions, but I wouldn't be like questions as in an interview, just a general conversation, I guess. Talk about his interest or whatever. I don't know. Which of course also are questions, I know, but I don't have a specific question to answer, or to a specific question to ask him. Sorry. Any sports you like? Yes. But not sports in as, I do this sport and I like this, but sports as in, yes, I like motorsport, and more specifically, I enjoy Formula 1. Which brings me on to the other question, which is a long question, but I thought it was a lot of fun, so I'm taking it in. They just labeled it F1 questions, or her. She did. So it begins by asking, are you still an Aston Martin fan, or have you switched teams? If you haven't, who else are you a big fan of, but not as big as Aston Martin? And then she also said, which other team do you enjoy rooting for, essentially? Okay, so yes, I do still root for Aston Martin. As I've said before, I am very traditional. I kind of look at Formula 1 teams and who I'm rooting for as people do with football teams. I will say football, but I mean soccer for anyone American. But the thing is, you can't really do that because football teams last essentially forever, for a lifetime, and Formula 1 teams come and go. So hopefully, Aston Martin stays in for as long as they can. But time will tell. So it's kind of stupid of me to think of Formula 1 in that way, I will root for Aston Martin until I die, because that's going to be impossible. The only people who have really stuck around that long is Ferrari. But at the moment, I am still an Aston Martin fan, and I will be until they move on. Because that's just how I am, how I think. And I don't really root for any other teams. Not Red Bull, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry if you enjoy Red Bull. I'm just not them. Have you ever been to a Grand Prix? I have. I was at the 2021 Budapest Grand Prix, which is when Sebastian Vettel, or Vettel, whatever you want to call him, or however you want to pronounce his name, when he drove to a second place to the podium, but then of course was disqualified later. But it was a lot of fun to watch that live, in person. Seeing as it was the first Grand Prix I watched also, and the only one so far live that I've been to. It's also funny because later that night, we have an apartment in Budapest because my father is from Hungary, Budapest, Hungary. So we went to a restaurant we enjoy going to, and at that restaurant, I was seated next to Pierre Gasly for some reason. I don't know why. And inside the restaurant, Carlos Sainz was also sitting there, and it was very odd. And I was starstruck, or not starstruck. I mean, he's not Pierre Gasly isn't my favorite driver by any means, but he's one of 20 by then current Formula 1 drivers on the grid, so it's kind of a big deal still. And I walked in there with my Aston Martin Formula 1 cap, and I sat like a meter away from him. I'll see if I can find a picture. My dad took a very blurry picture. You can think it's fake if you want to. I don't care. It's a funny picture my dad took, and if you know what Pierre Gasly looks like, you'll notice that that's him, and I'm sitting awkwardly to the side. I had no idea that this picture was taken until afterwards, because I just sat there with my Formula 1 cap, my Aston Martin Formula 1 cap, as the news were announced that Sebastian was disqualified. They were as they were reading it, I was sat there next to them, also reading it, and I had my Sebastian Vettel cap, Aston Martin cap, on me. As we were, his friends started looking at me as they were reading through the news. It was funny. Anyway, moving on. And she also says that she is a McLaren girl herself, and she thinks they're doing amazing this season, and Oscar Piastri is killing it, and I also agree very much. I have a lot of friends who root for McLaren, and I think Oscar Piastri is very much killing it. He is, I guess if I'm just looking at apart from Aston Martin, I think Oscar Piastri is the only driver I like seeing on the podium, because it's fun to see him perform as well as he does. I don't want you to take that the wrong way in any sense. Of course, it's fun to see. It's a fantastic job for anyone to make it up to the podium, but it's fun to see a Formula 1 rookie be on the podium. What is some of your favorite music to listen to, and why? Artists, genres, instruments, etc. And someone also asked, what are your favorite albums and maybe songs and musical acts? So I think they kind of go hand in hand. So essentially, I love older music. Not only older music, but mainly. I usually put a lot of weight into the lyrics. So that's usually what matters to me the most. And my favorite artist is Elvis, and he will forever be, I think, Elvis Presley. Of course, he didn't write any of his own songs. I don't really care. I think he performs them well, and with a lot of passion. You can say what you want about that, but that's how I think. And the lyrics in the songs he performs, I think, are great. And of course, he has the power to select whichever songs he wants to record. He can, yeah. That sounded weird, but even though he didn't write the lyrics, he chose to record that song, and that means something at least. And he chose to perform that song in the way he did, and I think that weighs into. But I also enjoy Rod Stewart. If we're talking more modern music, I think Lucas Graham, Adele, of course, Michael Bublé to some extent. There are many great artists, but I usually listen to Elvis, Rod Stewart. And that's mainly it right now. But that's also because I recently booked a concert with Rod Stewart for next spring with my cousin, to go on with my cousin. So I wasn't that into Rod Stewart a whole before. I enjoyed his music. He was probably one of my favorite artists before that, or he was one of my favorite artists before I went in and listened further into his deep tracks also. But I'm trying to put time into listening to as many different songs of his as possible, so that I can have a better understanding and therefore hopefully a better experience at his concert. Because I knew a bunch of his songs before, and I thought they were great, but I wasn't into him as like a person. Sorry. I wasn't read up on him as I am with Elvis. I'm still not anywhere near as read up on Rod Stewart as I am with Elvis, but I'm trying to be, so that I can enjoy the concert as much as I can, as much as I should, I guess. Because it feels like a waste otherwise if I just know 2 songs and I think, oh, he's fantastic, but I only know 2 songs. I think it's my responsibility to get a better understanding of him before I go there. Otherwise it would be kind of boring for me. And favorite album at the moment, seeing as I'm trying to get through Rod Stewart, would be this one, which I think every track on this album is fantastic. So I just put it on and I have a great time. It's also funny because, as far as I'm concerned, this is kind of an homage to an Elvis album, which is why I originally picked it up. Of course, I knew it was Rod Stewart and I wanted to buy a Rod Stewart album, but that's why I just went with this right away. Because this, of course, has a but if this design is taken from somewhere else, I don't know. But I have to think that this is somewhat of the original design, but I may be wrong. But to me, this would be, and therefore I think it's kind of an homage to this somehow. Or, the design was inspired by it. And then if someone had made an album cover with that design before, I don't know. But I think the famous album cover like that would be Elvis's. But correct me if I'm wrong. But if we're talking Elvis songs, I've been listening a lot to It's Over. I think that's fantastic. It's fabulous. I'm listening to the version from his Aloha from Hawaii special. I think that's just fantastic. And then we have another question, which I for some reason labeled as a fantastic question, which isn't to take any attention away from the other questions, but I just thought it was a very interesting question. And that question went, is there a specific film or person that inspires your aesthetic and way of filming and editing videos? And of course, one thing that springs to mind is Wes Anderson. Albeit I'm not that big of a fan of his. Not to say I don't enjoy his work, but I'm not that into his, I am a big fan of Elvis, but I'm not a big fan of Wes Anderson. But I'm not a big fan as in I don't like his work, but just it's fantastic work, but it's not more than that to me, or not much more than that to me for some reason. But of course, that is some of the inspiration, but not as much as you might think. I love classic movies. I love going back and watching the old Clint Eastwood movies and as well as the new ones, or any old movie really, because I like to see how they did things back then and how we do things now. One movie that it's kind of new that is so inspiring to me is Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I've only seen twice, I think, for some reason. But it's interesting to me in the sense that it's essentially a movie about a character very much like someone like Clint Eastwood. The character that Leonardo DiCaprio is playing is kind of a Clint Eastwood-esque guy in the way his career went and whatnot. Seeing as I'm a big fan of his, I think that's a very interesting movie. And I love the general 60s theme of it. And as I enjoy history, I enjoy watching his rendition or version of the Manson family. And of course, it didn't go down the way it did in the movie. But it's very interesting to watch still. But I'm not, a big Quentin Tarantino fanboy. I don't have a specific director except, Clint Eastwood that I am a huge fan of. I just enjoy movies. But if we're talking persons, that would have to be, it depends. If you're talking aesthetic as in videos, it would be like just me watching old videos in general, or old films in general. We have Sergio, I'm gonna butcher his last name or the pronunciation of it, but Sergio Leone, yeah, who of course made the spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood, and Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And then of course he went on and made Once Upon a Time in America. I haven't watched that yet, but I think it's called that. And of course, is it called Once Upon a Time in the West? Also? No. I don't know if it's called that. I think it is. Maybe. Did he make 2 movies called? Oh yeah, anyway. It's just very inspiring to watch films like that. Even though I don't aspire to be a filmmaker, I just think it's very interesting how stuff was done back then, and the whole aesthetic, and I guess feel that when I watch older movies. I don't know. I think I'm getting kind of tired, so my questions are very, very boring. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to look in on the tab right here. But when we're talking 80s themed stuff, Miami Vice I think is fantastic. Madman, of course it's a new series, or modern series, but it's set in the 1960s advertising world, and I think that's very inspiring too, in me wanting to be someone who works in advertisement and does graphic design to some extent. So it kind of, I have different I guess idols or icons that inspires me in different ways, that kind of builds up my general take on everything. When it comes to fashion, the way I try to dress, of course Elvis plays a huge part in everything. He inspires me in a lot of ways, but his fashion style is generally, towards the 70s at least, it was more flamboyant and glamorous than I might feel comfortable wearing. Big belts, flashy stuff, that's not for me. But I respect that decision. I think it's a very very bold move, and that brings me to respect him even more, I guess. So he inspires me in every way, but I don't take my, you say, fashion. I'm terribly sorry. Elvis inspires me in every way, but I don't, when I'm figuring out what to wear, when I want to build up my wardrobe, I don't look at what he used to wear, because he doesn't inspire me in a fashion sense, maybe. Not very much in a movie sense either, because he did like 30 Hollywood movies or something, but they weren't very good. They were Elvis films, that's all they were, and he thought so too. Even though he wanted to become a more serious actor, he never became, because of course they wanted him to sing in movies, and then they just became Elvis blockbusters. But so he inspires me in every way. Then you have like Paul Newman, who inspires me creatively, in the sense that I loved the way he dressed, and same with Robert Redford, and to some extent Steve McQueen, or to a lot of extent, I don't know why I said to some extent, it's Steve McQueen also. And of course they also inspire me in the sense that the movies they made, a lot of them were very good, I think, and they inspire me creatively when I do stuff like this, or when I do posters and graphic design. So I don't know if I answered your question in a good way. I'm terribly sorry if I didn't, but it's a hard question to answer. But you heard some of it now. What movies could you recommend, and what's your favorite genre of movies? I don't have a favorite genre of movies, but it goes back and forth. I had a period when I enjoyed watching 80s teen romance movies for some reason. I thought they were very comforting, watching The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Can't Buy Me Love, 16 Candles and whatnot, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think they're great movies, even though they might, not be a Tarantino movie or a Nolan movie. I think they're good movies in the way they are, like good movies for what they are, I guess. But if I were to recommend movies, I know, Bridges of Madison County is a drama movie with Clint Eastwood and Meryl Streep. I think that's a very touching movie. You have Unforgiven, which is a western with Clint Eastwood, which won a few Oscars. I think he won Best Directing, Clint Eastwood, and also it won Best Film, along with some other stuff, maybe Best Supporting Actor, I don't know. I don't remember. Came out in 92, I think it won at the 93 Oscars. You have Gran Torino, which also is a Clint Eastwood movie, but I think that's great. The Dirty Harry series, which also happens to be Clint Eastwood movies, but I just had to mention them. If we're not talking Clint Eastwood, I think that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid with Paul Newman and Robert Redford is a great western, probably one of the best. And I love the Bond franchise in general. They're not good movies by any means. They're not, as I said, they're kind of like the 80s, as I said, with the 80s teen romance movies. They're just good for what they are. They're a fun movie, and they stand out, I think. I think The Living Daylights is a fantastic Bond movie. Casino Royale, if we're talking newer stuff. Thunderball, if we're talking even older. Live and Let Die, also a fantastic Bond movie. But other movies that I can recommend, well, if you haven't watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's a fantastic movie, I think, too. Wall Street, the 80s movie, not the Wolf of Wall Street, but the Wall Street with Charlie Sheen and Kirk Douglas, and of course Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen's father. That's a fantastic film, I think. It inspires me a lot. I know to some extent I think American Psycho is a fun movie. Not fun as I idolize Patrick Bateman, because I very much don't, but I like the 80s feel. So I just enjoy the 80s vibe I get from watching the movie. I don't idolize Patrick Bateman in any way. Of course, he is portrayed as a psychopath. of course, if you think he's just dreaming all that or whatever, something's always obviously happening. But the way the character acts in the movie, of course, isn't something I idolize. I think it's. I love the feel of watching that movie. No, that's also very wrong. But the vibe that the surroundings give you, I like that. We have Glengarry Glen Ross, I think it's called it. With is he called Jack Lemmon? I don't know. And you also have Alec Baldwin, whom I also think makes some great movies. Big fan of his. There are also many other actors. Is it Al Pacino? I think so. And others that I should be able to mention, but I can't. But that's a good movie. Glengarry Glen Ross, I think it's called. Anyway, I'm just rounding on. But yes, those are movies I enjoy. Let's move on to the next question, which is, what subjects are you interested in pursuing? I was reading two different words at the same time. As I said, advertising. Yeah. Your favorite book? That's a funny one. Let me bring it. So, I'm not a big reader in any way. I want to be, but I just am not yet. But if you had asked me a month ago, when I first recorded this video, I could have said a week ago, but a month ago, I would have said this, because it's very inspiring. It's Ogilvy on Advertising. He's a big name historically though, in the advertising industry. And this book is very insightful, I guess. And it also allows for me to take a lot of inspiration graphically too, even though it isn't very useful to know how to make old looking posters. I like that style, so I kind of that wasn't a good example. Kind of experiment with that. I think it's fun watching these old pictures and just reading in general. But now, currently, it has to be Elvis and Me by Priscilla Buelow Presley, which of course is his only wife. Yeah, they divorced, but it was his only wife, or his only marriage. This I bought a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or so, and of course I've known about it forever, because I've been interested in, I have had an interest in Elvis as a subject for a very long time, and I've known about this book, and I know essentially what she says in this book. And it hasn't changed my opinion of him, but I've known about it, but I haven't read it. And I decided, why not buy it and read it? And I have. And I haven't really been able to put it down. Of course, I've had a lot in school now, so I have had to put it down. But I think I read 150 pages the first 3 days, which is a lot for me. Of course, anyone who reads a lot probably think that's not a lot, but I was proud of that, because it's just a fantastic book. It starts off very nice too, I guess, in a gentle way for Lisa Marie, which was his daughter, of course, or her daughter also. She wrote the book. And then the next page, it's just a quote where Elvis's version of a quote, which says, "Don't criticize what you don't understand, son. You never walks in that man's shoes," which is, I think, a fantastic quote, even though he might not be the originator of it. It's fantastic still. He is often referenced around that quote, I guess, or whatever. Sorry. I'm terribly sorry. I thought this was gonna go better, but it's gonna be a long video, and I'm sorry if it. Sorry. Do you play video games? Yes, I do. A lot, sadly. Currently, I play a lot of 5M. Sorry. Currently, I play a lot of 5M, which is a GTA 5 modification for role playing, I guess, with people. But I also play a lot of Rust. I used to play. It's very time consuming, but I used to play a lot. Yeah, I've played many games, but that's the main games that's always been there for me, I guess, that I've always returned to. Rust and 5M, but I play a lot of games. What color scheme do you want your future house to be? I don't know. For the longest time, I have been very set and interested in like the mid-century modern style, which I still am, but I've slowly began to fade into the very 80s flamboyant style that you can see in some of the houses in like Miami Vice for some reason. It's very much not me, but that has been growing on me lately. Very flamboyant stuff. I don't know, I've seen some AI renders on Instagram, and that grew my interest for that style, I guess, for some reason. But it must be very hard to buy furniture for that fits to that style, I guess. But very flamboyant stuff. I don't know. Okay, so if we're talking channel related stuff, who are your favorite ASMR artists? I don't want to miss anyone, so I made a small list of who I was able to think of when I read the question, and that would be Fox Evans ASMR. You have Sammy Jammy ASMR, Albert's Voice I've also been listening to. You have Sean ASMR and Lance ASMR, who I really enjoy watching because they bring a refreshing take on ASMR. They kind of do vlogs, kind of also, along with their normal videos, ASMR vlog stuff, which is I think is very interesting. It's not maybe typical ASMR, but it's interesting to watch. And then we have Memoirs ASMR. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I like her public stuff. Would you start a vlog or keep your ASMR channel? I don't think I'd start a vlog channel, but I would of course keep my ASMR channel. I don't intend to abandon it anytime. No, ever. I don't think I'll ever abandon it, purposefully at least, or intentionally, I guess. But I don't think I'd start a vlog channel, but if people are interested, I might sometime try what Sean and Lance are doing with their vlogs type stuff, but I don't see myself doing that in the near future, at least. Where did you get the ideas for vintage roleplays? That's a very good question, because for a very long time, when I did my videos, at the beginning of this year, I just made trigger stuff, which I wasn't very good at, and it didn't bring a lot of views. Then I saw that everyone who made cranial nerve exams got a ton of views for some reason. So I did one, which wasn't themed anything, and I just wore a white shirt and did stuff, and that got a few thousand views. And then I thought, oh, this is working. And I was watching Frasier at the time, a show I enjoy. And I thought, what if I do an 80s themed cranial nerve exam? That would be fun, because I like being creative in that sense. When I'm doing it because I want to try something, not because I have to. So I did like a Frasier-ish intro, and I tried doing an 80s themed one, and it worked out. It grew my channel a hell of a lot. And then I tried doing some 80s Miami Vice cop style thing. That didn't work as well, but it was a lot of fun. And then I just kind of pursued my interest because I love older classic movies. So I just went, oh, let's do a 50s one, or let's do it black and white, and let's do it squared off, because of course, if we're talking television, it was recorded in 4x3, I guess, because that's what the television looks like, or were shaped like up until like the 2000s. Yeah, and it just grew from there. What are your favorite triggers? I don't have any, I'm sorry. I don't, I'm sorry. What's your favorite decade to portray? At the moment, it has to be 80s. Yeah. This is a very interesting question too. What's the most important aspect in capturing a specific time for your videos? Also, feel better soon. Well, thank you very much. I was sick when I started asking for questions for the Q&A. And someone else also asked, what details do you feel really define each decade? And I think they kind of go hand in hand. So if we're talking 50s, of course, television and film in general, or footage, photos, whatever, images, were done on film, analog film. That's how you took pictures or recorded film back then. And generally speaking, color film wasn't as widely available in the 50s. It existed on movies and such. You know, James Dean's A Rebel Without a Cause is in color. I think that's the original one. I don't think it was recorded in black and white. So it existed, but mainly, like widely spread, you didn't use color film back then in the 50s. So therefore I do the black and white stuff. And I square it off. So yes, it is the 50s. I add like blurred edges as if they're kind of ripped, or not ripped, but you know, not perfect. If I were to do a 60s television stuff, because I did a 60s one, but then I did a 60s film themed. So I didn't have the 4x3 bars, so it wasn't squared. It was, you know, like a film. It was kind of panoramic. And then I, of course, moved black and white because movies in the 60s were mainly color, or started to become color, and the blockbusters at least, because they could afford it. Television, of course, mainly was still black and white. It existed in color, you know. Ed Sullivan Show started using color in the later 60s, mid 60s. But I guess many television sets still were black and white, so the people who watch this stuff probably watched them black and white anyway. But if I were to record a television thing in the early 60s, I would do black and white, but I wouldn't have the imperfect edges. But it would still be 4x3. And I wouldn't have as much flickering and dust on the footage, I guess, because it would be more perfected by then than from what it was in the 50s. Then if I were to do a late 60s, I would have done one in color, probably a bit of dust on it, but in color, with very different filter on the color to get the color right, I guess. But still 4x3 if it was a television. The 70s, I don't really feel has anything that defines it when it comes to film or television. To me, when I watch it, it's essentially the same as the 60s ones. I mean, you know, typography and stuff changed, but watching a movie, I think it's essentially the same to me. And that the big change comes in the 80s, when of course movies became, they were still recorded on film mainly, but they still are today. Big, not generally speaking, but you know, big movies usually record on film. No, I shouldn't say usually. You know, Nolan records on films. Tarantino likes to do it, but it's not as common anymore. I don't know why I said usually. But in the 80s, of course, they still did. Television in the 80s was either, you know, had a graining. Was very. Let me rephrase that. Okay, so if we watch television today, we are more likely to watch 80s television than 60s and 70s television, because we have, of course, 80s television, we have Seinfeld, and then in the 90s, you know, you have Friends, and they all were, of course, recorded in 4x3, which is a squared format, where they were published in 4x3 at least, or aired in 4x3, but then Netflix, or whoever does it, went in and, you know, on Seinfeld, they used a bit more of the film that was recorded but never used, and made it 16:9, which is how we watch television, you know, the squares, the wide stuff, and they did the same with Friends, or whoever did, so we don't notice it, but of course you're losing information from the top and bottom, because you're stretching it out, or not stretching it out, but you're not using as much. You if you have a squarish stuff thing and you want to make it wider, you can't make it wider with information that doesn't exist, of course, so you have to make it, you know, so it doesn't make sense. Well, anyway, yes, so the 80s, I think we um, we tend to watch more than any other older era. I don't know where I'm going with this now. And the 80s could either be okay, so where I was going was, and with the 80s you usually notice the graining. On 80s movies you notice the grain in the film, and on 80s shows you often notice the graining. And I think you notice that in the 80s ones, and it becomes a big factor because you don't usually watch older stuff that's even older, because of course they also had graining. So what, going from 2020 shows from 2020 and watching Friends or Seinfeld, you will notice the graining much more because you don't usually watch older stuff like that. So that becomes a difference. But if you watch a show from the 70s, of course you're gonna see the graining too. But I think it's much more apparent on the 80s stuff if we only watch modern stuff usually. But also sometimes I do it with the graining, sometimes I do it with the VHS effect, which is kind of the lagging in the thing. It depends on what mood I am in and what kind of video I want to make. It's either or when it comes to the 80s. I think they have very deep colors for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying the exact opposite of what I'm thinking, but I have a certain idea of what colors should be used in an 80s thing for some reason. I don't know. It's probably the colors I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sorry. This is becoming so messy. I'm sorry. We're almost done. Have to be anyway because I need to do stuff. I'm sorry. But yeah, so 80s still 4x3. And when I do television stuff, the movie stuff I'm not interested about in the 80s. I love 80s movies, but you know they're quite similar to what we have now, just with the more obvious graining. So I like to do with the 4x3 because that's what we usually. As well as I said with the graining, because if we don't watch older stuff, we usually associate the 4x3 with 80s stuff, I guess. Or I did before I started watching even older stuff. Because of course I did watch 80s stuff, but I didn't watch older stuff. So when I saw it's squared off, then it must be 80s, you know. Because I didn't watch older stuff, so I didn't think of it and think of connecting that squared stuff with, Sorry. Would you ever do like cosplays more as one of your favorite characters, like James Bond or maybe James Bond team? That would be so cool. Sadly, no, I don't think so. I mean, I did the Miami Vice thing, which is as close as I'll get, I think. And I'll do like James Bond-ish, maybe. You know, but you know, I wouldn't ever try to, you know, make a roleplay thing where I am James Bond or where I am Elvis. You know, I'm not an actor. I'm not good at that at all. So I would just want to be a random character who is very much inspired by another, say James Bond or Sonny Crockett type of guy. But I don't think I'd ever do like a James Bond roleplay or Elvis Presley roleplay because that's not me at all. I'm sorry. Does your parents/friends know that you make ASMR videos? If so, what's their reaction to them? Have they watched any of your videos? Greetings from Peru. Your channel is a true gem. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so my parents and my brother knows that I do ASMR. I don't show them my stuff because I'm way too embarrassed. I'm very shy, so I don't want them to watch it. It will be very. It would be a lot harder for me to upload stuff because I would feel like, oh no, it's not good enough or whatever. Or they don't understand, so it might be weird. And I have, I think, 3 friends. One of them being my cousin, who knows that I do ASMR now. And I say now because I did do ASMR back in 2018. It didn't go well, but I did do it, and everyone knew about it. I didn't try to hide it back then. And so at my school it became a thing, you know, I did ASMR, and you know, I wasn't bullied for it by any means. It just was a thing. So everyone knew and everyone accepted that. So essentially everyone associates me with having done ASMR before. Everyone who knew me back then. So it's I don't think it would be that hard to break in to say, oh, I do ASMR now, because I'm way more successful now than I was back then, if I can say that. I wasn't doing the team ones before. I was just doing ASMR to experiment with it, and it didn't go that well. I kind of just tipped off because I had school to do. but everyone knew, and everyone accepted it. Thought it was fun if something. It like fun, not not in a bully type of way, just fun in, oh, you did it smart. That's kind of interesting. Good for you or whatever. And it became a running joke, I guess, that I was in on, not in a bully type sense or type of way. Yes, but eventually they will have to find out that I do ASMR. But I want to be done with school first and stuff. But yeah. What got you into ASMR? What do you enjoy about it? And what sets you apart from other ASMR creators? And another person asked, what made you start watching ASMR videos? And when was the first time? So they kind of go hand in hand. I started watching back in 2017, I think. And then I made my first channel in 2018. And then that kind of died off. I killed it myself, I guess. Sounds very weird, but I ended my channel myself. It doesn't exist anymore. I don't know what got me into ASMR. I think I was just roaming around YouTube and found it for some reason. Just stumbled upon it, and I kind of, oh, this is kind of cool. Would have to be that way. I just enjoy. It's a very loving and fascinating community. And I love just being able to put on a video in the background while I'm studying or something. It kind of feels like you have someone studying with you, but they're at the same time not annoying you, asking you questions, and you're not studying together, and they're just there and they're doing stuff, and it's kind of relaxing. It's kind of like, I think it's very relaxing to watch someone do a card trick in front of you, just let them do it. You just watch and they're doing something for you, and it's like getting a massage or whatever, something like massaging your arm or whatever, I don't know. It's very relaxing. What sets me apart from other smokers? I don't know. I don't think I'm in a position to say that I stand out from anyone or from the others, because I don't want to put that pressure on myself, and I don't want to sound narcissistic. So that's completely up to you. I think I try to bring my own take on ASMR, but some people enjoy it, some people don't. But of course you have other people doing essentially what I do, but on a much more professional scale, Is it like, there's a Made in France, is it called that? Made in France ASMR, something like that. And of course he does fantastic pieces, and he has he has access to many more resources and much more time than me, of course. And of course he's very talented, so it's not only his resources, of course. But I don't think I stand out that much. That's up to you to say. But I would appreciate it if people thought I stood out from the rest, from the mass. But I'm not in a position to say I answered that myself. But you can answer that in the questions in the comments below, and I'll be happy to read it. When you watch ASMR, what kind of videos do you like to watch the most? That's a very good question. I guess it's very random. It's probably what creators do I would like to watch the most at the moment. So I had a period where I loved watching Fox Evans. I still do, but he doesn't upload as often anymore. Sammy Jammy. I'm going through the favorites as I did before, but her stuff is fantastic too. And then sometimes I feel like watching Lance ASMR and Sean ASMR, where I watch Sean more than Lance, and I don't know why I said Lance before him, but both of them, they do great stuff. They're kind of interesting just put on. It's different from the other stuff I listen to. And then Albert's Voice. It's a fairly small channel. Not to say that I'm a big channel. I'm not trying to portray myself as bigger than him. But I think he does fantastic stuff. He uploads unbelievably frequently too. I don't understand how he does it. Like daily. 40-minute videos daily. You should check him out if you like criminal exam stuff. It's a bit more aggressive, I guess, but I like that take in that case. Or that take on ASMR in that case. I'm very tired now. I'm terribly sorry. I hope this still works out. Then I listed another question, favorite trigger, question mark. I think I already answered that. I don't have one. I don't know why to put it again. But yeah, this has been very long, and I'm sorry. It's gonna be kind of raw, like in the sense that I will do very little editing. That's why I kind of divided them up into 3 categories to make it easier for me, and I record each category independently, individually. You see, I'm tired. I'm not bored. I don't want to make it seem like I'm bored, like this is a hassle, because it was a lot of fun watching the reading comments, and it is a lot of fun having getting to answer them too. So don't get me wrong, because I love talking about my interests, and it's kind of narcissistic, I guess. But I love talking about that if people ask me. I don't want to burden them with my interest. Oh, yeah, I like Elvis because of that and this and whatever. And I don't think that that's anything wrong or this and that, whatever. Thank you very much if you watched this far. I also want to thank my patrons. I'll list them somewhere here. This is the first time doing that. Thank you very much. I will link my Patreon below. I don't think this video will be on Patreon because it is essentially. I uploaded the raw video of the last Q&A. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you hopefully very soon. If you have video ideas, please let me know below. Thank you.